Hello and welcome to the September edition of Disco Kit. We talked before about Alpine wines. Today we're going to flip down to the Southern Hemisphere and talk about Andes wines. The four selections that we have for this month are we have two from Chile and two from Argentina. So I'm very excited for you to get to know those. Don't forget to check for the PDF in your email for more detail about those wines. We'll also include some suggested reading on our website. There's lots going on down there in terms of climate change, in terms of grape production and winemaking and everything else. One of the things I did want to talk to you about today, because it's another feature of our wine club, and I feel like if you haven't tried it yet, you can get a lot from it, and that is the Somm Says app. So when you take a look at a bottle, and you can see, I don't know if this is in shot, the little scan there. So this will actually scan you to the Somm Says webpage. If you haven't signed up or downloaded the app from your Google Play or Apple Store? Clearly I'm not an Apple person. It's for free. It's developed by some folks in Colorado, so there's actually a few Somms around the Denver area, and it kind of breaks down the wines for you. So I'm going to go through and show you what this looks like so that you can see and maybe feel a little bit more comfortable with playing the game. My favorites, two favorite things of mine put together, Cab Franc and sparkling wines. So what you're seeing here is the kind of just basic overview page. You can see that there is a buy now, and you can see that it has my profile on there. If you've never signed in before, you actually have to scroll down just a little way to join Somm Says to play. And so if you click here, you can enter your email address. And it'll send a little verification code, probably to my email. There it is. So you have your verification code. And it'll log you in automatically. So this is where you can start tasting. So I'm going to go ahead and click through. One of the things that I want to make sure that everybody is aware of is that this tasting game is kind of a really simple way to access the wines. If you have different answers than I have, it doesn't mean that you're tasting things wrong. I had a hard time picking some of the overall comparisons. So this is kind of a basic run through. It'll tell you how our experiences differ, how it's the same. So your answers are going to be in purple. And because we are setting this up as a wine club game, you can also see what everybody else's experiences are when they play this game. So I'm going to just do some quick answers for you, and I remember this about the wine. When I first opened it, I thought it was very earthy. At the same time, I had experiences with floral, there was some pepper in there was of course a little bit of fruit, there were some herbs. So if you answer differently than I answer, that does not mean that you're getting it wrong. You're just telling me what the first thing was that jumped out for you. I'm very consistent with myself is what we're saying here. So describing the body, I felt like this was a medium-bodied wine. So this is how the wine weighs in your mouth, right? Remember we talked about on the video, a common analogy is like milk. Skim would be very lightweight. Whole milk would be a full body. I felt like this one hit right in the middle. Sometimes it's hard to tell with sparkling wines. And again, there's no wrong answers here. You're just telling me what your experience is. Apparently the first time I had this, I thought it was light. So acidity here, creamy means you get a little bit of mouth watering. Crisp means there's some middle acidity. Tart is when you get that real serious, like lemony pucker up. This one I felt like was crisp. And granted, I'm going off the cuff here, not actually tasting as I'm going, which is what I suggest you do. And then finally, they're asking if there was some tannins on this, which red wines, even in sparkling wine production, will show tannins because that comes from the skin. typically, not always, depending on how it's vinified. If I remember correctly, there were some fine-grained tannins to this. And so it'll compare our two answers. And then sugar level on this, dry. Most wines are vinified dry, but again, sweetness is all subjective. So you get to tell me what your experience was. And this I remember being nice and dry. There was some good fruit notes, but there's herbs and pepper and all kinds of other things to balance it out. And then the last one, the primary flavor. So this one is a little bit of an interesting one. I actually selected all the options. And there is one that the game wants me to pick as a primary answer, but I feel like a lot of these feature in there as well. So again, this is a chance for you to share what your experiences was. There are no wrong answers here. So I'm picking the black and red plum. And the questions here, tell me how well this wine performed for you. So just in your overall general experience of wine, was it in the top % of wines you've ever tasted, top 25%? Was it average, or maybe you didn't like this wine? I really, really liked this wine. I've also had a whole lot of wines. So for me, this kind of falls into the average, I would say. And at the end, what is really cool, and again, we'll show you the screenshot of this, is that you can choose to buy now. Apparently I got 4 out of 6 points for tasting and skill. And if there's something that I want different, if this wine was too dry and you want something with more sugar, or if you want something with more acidity, you can kind of pick acidity and rank more or less. So you can actually request a recommendation. So that's pretty cool, and that actually comes back to me. If you scroll down here, you can see our results and where they were different. So body and acidity were different playing, and of course I was playing this without actually tasting it, so that didn't help me there. You can scroll through your results to see. And I didn't see anything to guess the price on there. But maybe that's something that they can fix later for us. But that just kind of gives you an overall view. If you want to go back and see all the games that you've followed, you can go back to the lobby, you can review the tasting. If you hit the home button, it's going to show you a list of all the games from your favorite Somms. So I hope you have a lot of fun doing this, and hopefully it kind of generates, you can play this game with other friends, and it will generate some conversation and generate questions if you have them. And I hope you enjoy all of our offerings from Chile and Argentina. Have a good September.